together in this place with you and with these choirs, and we start singing and we start being together, I start believing that we really can make a difference in this world. I believe we can bring people together. We can feed those who are hungry and malnourished in Oklahoma and across this country and across the world. I feel like we can educate our children. I start to believe, I start to get hope again. I start to believe that if we use our love and speak our love out loud, that we can make a difference. And I need to come back to this place every week just to be re-inspired to go forward, because when I hear the news and I think about what's been happening and what is happening, I start to worry about the course of society and the world around us. But then I come back together with all of you and I feel the power of community and the power of love. I hope you received one of these beautiful hearts this morning. Take that with you. Loving out loud, that is our theme for the year here at All Souls. We're not just going to love, but we're going to love out loud. And I am so thrilled to be working with you around this theme and this idea this year. I want to share a story from Mary Ann Bird from her memoir. She writes, "I grew up knowing I was different, and I hated it. I was born with a cleft palate. And when I started school, my classmates made it clear to me how I looked to others. A little girl with a misshapen lip, crooked nose, lopsided teeth, and garbled speech. When schoolmates asked, 'What happened to your lip?' I'd tell them that I'd fallen and cut it on a piece of glass. Somehow it seemed more acceptable to have suffered an accident than to have been born different. I was convinced that no one outside of my family could love me. There was, however, a teacher in the second grade who we all adored, Mrs. Leonard. She was short, round, happy, a sparkling lady. Annually, we would have a hearing test. Mrs. Leonard gave the test to everyone in the class, and finally it was my turn. I knew from past years that as we stood against the door and covered one ear, the teacher sitting at the desk would whisper something and we were asked to repeat it back. Things like, "The sky is blue," or "I have new shoes." I waited there. I waited there for those 7 words that changed my life. Mrs. Leonard said in a whisper, "I wish you were my little girl." Mrs. Leonard made me feel like I was lovable. And it changed my entire life. It changed how I felt about myself. It changed my sense of who I am and what was possible for me. She writes, "So when we share our love out loud, it changes people's lives." And so this year, our theme here at All Souls is loving out loud. If Mrs. Leonard did not share her love with little Mary Ann, she might have never known how special she is and would have lived a different life. When we welcome people into All Souls, when we introduce people to this free faith, it changes their lives forever. You probably know what I'm talking about, because if you've been here for any length of time, you know the profound impact that this place and these people can have. But it doesn't mean that All Souls is perfect. Far from it. That's what makes what I'm talking about real love. I tell couples who come to me for premarital counseling, I ask them, have you gotten into a really big fight? Because if a couple has not gotten into a really big fight, one of those fights where you feel really alienated from one another, really angry, like you want this thing to be over, then I tell them, if you haven't had a fight like that, then you're not ready to get married. Because until we've had a fight like that and then come back and realized how much we love each other, it's not real love. And we don't even know if we can count on it when times get tough. When I have a chance, I tell new members who are thinking about joining All Souls, I say, don't join All Souls until it's broken your heart at least once. Because All Souls will break your heart. I know it's broken my heart. The people of this church have broken my heart. And yet I still love this place, and I love the people, and I love what we stand for. I've given my life to it. I continue to give my life to it. I can't imagine doing anything else. So if you've been here any length of time, I have to imagine that your love for this place is real. That you know that this place isn't perfect, that no community is perfect, and we don't pretend that it is. I have to believe this place has broken your heart, and yet you're still here, and you still love this place as much as all of us. Why? Because of the impact that it has on our lives and the sense of hope that it gives us about the possibilities for the future. Not just for us, but for other people outside of this place. Barbara Prose, my beloved and outstanding partner in this ministry, has said persuasively that we have a distinctive spiritual call for our times. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, about how now more than ever before, people all over the world are disillusioned, disenfranchised, even angry about the way that they've been taught to think about God and spirituality and the world around them. Today, because of travel and because of the internet, people are connected in ways that, for the first time in history, that allow us to share in other people's cultures and other people's beliefs and their happiness and their pain and even their persecution like never before. People everywhere are seriously questioning traditional creeds and religions and the impact that they're having on humanity and the earth. People everywhere are questioning the impact that religion is having on our sense of connection to one another and to our collective future. Why we are loving out loud this year is because what also stands for aligns for the first time in our 95-year history in Tulsa with what how more and more people see themselves and the world. And All Souls aligns with how more and more people view other cultures and religions and how they view their own spiritual nature. In other words, we are loving out loud because we have a distinctive spiritual call for our times. We, you and me, and this place has a distinctive spiritual call for our times. This is serious. This is a big deal. This matters. Never before has the world or the United States or Tulsa, Oklahoma been more ready or in tune with the values and the perspective of the free faith and the tradition that we represent right here. We're inclusive and diverse and intellectually engaged. We're socially active. We're free-thinking people who want to use our precious life to make a difference for the common good. That matters. And we have a place where we can do it together, where we can pool our resources and our hope and prop each other up when it gets difficult, and just go out there again and try to do what we can do to make this world just a little bit better before our time is up. And we know we live under the shade of trees that other people have planted, and we're planting trees that we know will provide shade for others long after we're gone. And we embrace the arts and music and science and history. You might come to a service and hear Bach or Bruce Springsteen or Beyonce. You might hear a religious song or ragtime song or a reggae or rock and roll. You might hear a psalm or a song of praise or a song of Prince. You might hear a chorus, a cantata, a quartet, a carol, or Carole King. Classical or a canticle, a ballad or big band or the Beatles. A dirge or a descant or Dr. John or David Bowie. You get the idea. So in the next 5 years, as we approach the centennial year of this community that was planted here by people long before we were born, we're going to do more to make sure that people know that a community like this exists. Do you know what the most common thing that newcomers say every Sunday to us when they leave here? They say, I had no idea there was a church like this in Tulsa, or anywhere for that matter. Usually followed by, I wish I would have found this place 20 years ago. It would have changed my entire life. For almost 100 years, All Souls has been the best kept secret in Tulsa. But it won't be anymore. We are going to welcome more people, serve more people, feed more people, teach more people, marry more people, register more people to vote, and dedicate more babies than ever this year. Next month, we're taking some money that was gifted to us for a special purpose, and we're going to use it to underwrite some attractive promotional things on the radio, on the internet, possibly even on television. We may even do some digital billboards around town if we can afford it. We're even going to make All Souls Love Beyond Belief bumper stickers for those of you who are courageous enough to put it on your car. We'll be letting people know that we exist, but we'll also be taking control of what people hear about us. Because a lot of people have a lot of things to say about All Souls. And it's time that we take some control of what is being said about us, because we know what happens in this place and we know what matters about this place, and it's important that we let people know and we don't just leave it in the hands of other preachers and prophets and prophetesses and other people and apostles and other people out in this community who try to say what they think we're about and what they think we stand for. Before we reach 100, everyone in Tulsa is going to know that a church like this exists in this community. Our online presence, we're also going to take that to the next level. We've just changed our bylaws in May to allow for online membership to All Souls, and we've had already applications from other states of people who want to belong to this church. You heard in a video a little bit earlier, something completely surprised me when Reverend Doss came here and talked about how his colleagues and hundreds of churches around the country are tuning into our Livestream YouTube channels and other things and really following some of the lead of what we're doing in this place. And just this week, we increased the bandwidth with which we send out our signal for the live stream. If you're watching live stream, you might be having a lot less buffering going on this morning, I hope, than before. And if you do that, don't clap too much, Jim. I know that you sit home sometimes and watch. I'm glad you stay tuned in, even when you're traveling around. Let's talk about our big move downtown. We haven't talked about that for a while. You want to talk about that? I was hoping you'd say no. Now, most of you know we were gifted an entire city block in downtown Tulsa and another city block to use for parking for us to relocate this congregation. And a few years ago, we voted as a church to accept that gift, to sell this property, and to move into downtown, where this church began 95 years ago. Now, in May, the Board of Trustees put together a task force led by Joe Nuri to research the options, the costs, the zoning issues, and our opportunities in downtown, but also asked them at the same time to do some exploration and the same kind of calculations for what it would take if we were to do an expansion in this location right here as well, so that we could make the best decision for the future of this congregation, which will impact it over the next 50 to 100 years. And in November of this year, the Board of Trustees is going to make a recommendation to the congregation in a congregational meeting about what they believe is the best for our church, to either continue on the path that we are right now, mandated by the church to go downtown and move into downtown, or if the information that we receive and compile tells us otherwise, to consider our options for expansion in this location, because a lot has changed in both places in the years since we voted. So we want to make sure we understand all of what's at stake. This is a big deal to be making such a decision that will impact the future generations of this congregation. So over the fall, over the next few months, we're going to have meetings. The board's going to be putting on meetings in this task force to get input from you. So I hope you'll get engaged and stay involved and pay attention and share your perspective with us. I'll tell you what, I'm bursting out of my skin waiting to find out what we're going to do. Both possibilities are incredible, whichever way we end up. But my point is that this is an immense moment. This is going to be a tremendous year in the life of All Souls. We are going to be setting into motion the largest, most impactful project that this church has taken on since 1958. We, you, and me. We are the fulcrum between the first century of All Souls in this community and the second. We are the ones who will be designing the future and setting the stage for the second century of this free faith in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the largest Unitarian Universalist church in the country. And because of our reach, we'll also be setting in motion an impact that will go well beyond our walls and our community. So I can barely contain myself when I think of the possibilities that lay in our hands. So please stay engaged in the process. Be a part of it. This is a really, really important year to have your lights on and to be paying attention and be engaged with All Souls. At the same time, we, as always, have to keep our programs going, keep the lights on, do all the things that we need to do to keep that incredible staff that we have in place. And so we also, like every fall, we put out our pledge cards and ask people to write down what they're going to give for 2017 so we can set our budget for the next calendar year. So we're not looking for checks right now from folks, but what we want to know is how much you plan to give or will be able to give in 2017 for that calendar year. So when you leave this sanctuary today, there will be a table with all the pledge cards, and you could help us a great deal by just picking up your pledge card, filling it out today, and putting it in the box or handing it to one of the people at the table. Just get it done so that we can stop talking about it, because we got a lot more important things to talk about, as you know. And it will help us to make sure that we're going to set the budget, because the thing is that we give away our collection, our offering, which we'll take in just a few moments, for the Community Food Bank of Tulsa. So every Sunday, we take an offering and we collect and we give that money away to help with homelessness and hunger and all the important abuse, child abuse, and all the important things that are going on in the world, because we care about making a difference. So the way that we fund our church is through the pledges of our members and friends who aren't members who support our church financially. So I would ask you today to just pick up your pledge card, fill it out, so that we can set the budget. Because unlike some places, a rational, progressive community like this doesn't just start spending money and then praying that the money will come in. We actually want to know how much is going to come in, and then we set the budget based on what we know is going to come in. So please do your part. And basically what we've analyzed is our expenses are going to go up about 20% this year with insurance and other things that are happening. So if you can increase your pledge for 2017, 20%, that would help us a great deal. Not everyone's going to be able to do that, so if you can do more than 20%, we ask you to do that. But everyone's going to do what we can, and just like every other year, we pool everything we have and we create what we can in this place. And I just can't thank you enough for that. So let me circle back around, assuming that you're going to pick up your pledge card today and get out there. I'm not going to keep talking about it, but do the right thing and help us out. Now, so let's circle back for a second to Loving Out Loud before I turn this back over to our musicians. I began with the story of Mary Ann Bird, whose life was changed by the love of her teacher, Mrs. Leonard. When we share our love out loud, we change people's lives. Don't be stingy with your love. Be bold and reckless with sharing your love. This is it. This is the one life that you have. This is the life, the precious time that you have. And the only thing that we leave behind after we die are the things we give away. The institutions we support and the love that we share outlives us and continues to bless this world and make the world a better place. This is our year for Loving Out Loud. Those of you who are new, welcome. We're so glad that you came and that you're joining us and becoming a part of this community. For those of us who've been here making this place happen year after year after year, I love you. And I'm going to say it out loud. I love you. Amen.
We are your church, and we are proud to be your church, or at least a church that's having a positive impact on your life. I am personally blessed to be your minister, or at least a minister who you're allowing to speak into your life. I hope you'll support our ministry and share your love beyond belief by texting LOVEBB to 41444 or go to our website. But you can just text LOVEBB to 41444 and make your gift. It's wonderful. Thank you. Be blessed and be a blessing.